Hello, everyone. Well, it's been a long time since I last made my video. It's been almost 2 months since I made my last video. And I'll tell you why. It's because I've been so busy with school. Um, this semester, for some reason in particular, um, my classes are particularly difficult, and I've also been sick at the same time. So I really couldn't find any time to make a video, but this is such an urgent time in our nation's history and in the uh, greater scheme of things that I just felt that I had to make my video. I had to make it, and I had to make it soon because who knows what what the future holds. So wanted to make a video, and this video is about um, the putting nuclear weapons in space. Nuclear weapons in space. They've been talking about that for a long time. Okay, they've been talking about weapons in outer space almost as soon as there was a rocket in space and nuclear weapons. Just as soon as both of those things existed, they've been thinking about putting nuclear weapons in space. But now it looks like Russia really wants to do it. Russia really wants to put nuclear weapons in space. When I heard about this, when I heard that Russia wanted to put nuclear weapons in space, I thought that is the damnedest, most dangerous thing I've ever heard of. That is the most dangerous thing I ever heard of, is nuclear weapons in space. Because think about it. Out there in outer space, it's more than just an empty vacuum. There's the Van Allen radiation belt that surrounds our beautiful, fragile blue and green planet. And this radiation belt, Van Allen radiation belt, protects us from the sun's radiation and from gamma rays coming from outer space. So we're protected. We're protected here on Earth from gamma rays from outer space by this Van Allen radiation belt. Having a nuclear explosion in space would definitely disrupt the Van Allen radiation belt. And who knows how many people are going to die of cancer because of the Van Allen radiation belt. But more importantly, look how dependent we've become on our satellites. Satellites that surround Earth, that fly through outer space. That's the real target of these nuclear weapons in space, is these satellites. If our satellites go down, we're going to have a very miserable time here on Earth, because no more internet whizzing around at the speed of light. No more searches late at night. No more ordering off Instacart. No more of any of that. No more of any of that. You'll have just back to the Stone Age. Back to the Stone Age. And some of this stuff is, these satellites are used for military reconnaissance, and it's also used for our infrastructure, like power and gas and so on. Would be very dangerous to take down these satellites for us. And that's why Russia wants to do it. They want to get back at us in an underhanded way. They want to be underhanded and sneaky about it. So they're thinking of putting nuclear weapons in space, and that is the damnedest, most dangerous thing. That could fall out of the sky and hit anywhere. Could hit anywhere. The nuclear weapon could hit anywhere. And who knows what triggers these nuclear weapons, if they're just on a remote control from Earth, and what kind of saboteur could intercept them and use them to their own advantage, saboteurs. But having them in the control of Putin is scary enough as it is. So I'm just saying, nuclear weapons in space, very dangerous. Nuclear weapons on Earth, even more dangerous, but nuclear weapons in space, dangerous enough. And so I heard about this, and they could use nuclear weapons in space to launch an attack on the Earth. They're just not admitting it yet because they don't want people to panic. That's job number one, is to prevent people from panicking. But, maybe it would be better to get out to a Caribbean island. in retrospect, just thinking about it, maybe a Caribbean island or even Hawaii might be safer. Don't know. Somewhere outside the jurisdiction of the United States might be the safest. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Nuclear weapons in space, that is so dangerous. Now, as far as the war in Gaza goes, I admire the IDF for their commendable actions. They freed some hostages the other day. They freed 2 hostages that were being held at gunpoint inside of a home, and they're on their way home now, thanks to the IDF. So they did do something good. Still not buying into the Hamas leaders' reports of how many dead there are, because they could be lying, and the people that they're saying are dead might not be civilians. They might be Hamas fighters that are dead. So, and there's a lot of Hamas fighters. So I'm not buying what Hamas says. I'm not listening to Hamas or giving credence to Hamas. But Netanyahu said something interesting the other day. He said, this was back in January 1st, he said that he thought that the war would last through the next year. And that's probably true, but it's going to last longer than a year. It's going to last much longer than a year. This is a long-term campaign. It's a long-term campaign, just like when we invaded Iraq. We were there for over 8 years. More than 8 years. Maybe we were there for 12 years. Maybe we're still there. And so Iraq was a long-term gambit. Afghanistan was a long-term gambit. And I think that this war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip is going to be a long-term gambit as well. They're going to... And do you know what I heard Biden say? Biden the other day said that he wanted a 2-state solution. Just keep your opinions to yourself, Biden. We do not want a 2-state solution. We want Israel in control of the Gaza Strip, okay? Because these guys are dangerous, and there's no telling what they might do if they got their hands on some weapons or had any power at all. So we don't want the Palestinians in power in the Gaza Strip. We want the Israelites in control and in power in the Gaza Strip. We want them to rule over the Gazans, which are the Palestinians. We want them to govern them. And they're nice guys. They're not gonna, once Hamas is defeated and Israel's in control, they're not going to do anything bad to the Palestinian civilians. The civilians may resent it. They may not like it. They may want it to go back to the way things were when Hamas was in charge. But that's too bad. That's too bad, because they've proven that they're too dangerous to be allowed to rule themselves. They're too dangerous. They're dangerous people, and they're a danger to Israel. So they shouldn't be allowed to rule themselves. They should have somebody else in charge of them and set up a government that's favorable to Israel and eliminate Hamas. So that is one thing. And but back to the weapons in space, I just have never heard of anything so dangerous as having these nuclear weapons in space. And they could take out not just our satellite, but all the satellites for all of the different countries that might be out there in space. They could take down a whole bunch of satellites at once. And then there would be space junk falling on the Earth. Who knows where it would land. Just anything, just a mention to the world leaders that there's the Gang of Eight. You ever heard of the Gang of Eight? This is something new. It's the Gang of Eight. It's four house candidates and not candidates, incumbents, and 4 Senate incumbents. And these four and four are the Gang of Eight from the Senate and the House. And that is who got debriefed by Biden just yesterday. And what they did was they were talking about what to do about Russia having weapons in space. Well, I'll tell you, I just don't feel safe with Biden in control. I don't feel safe. Now, Putin feels safe with Biden in control. He loves Biden. Putin loves Biden. He just said that he would rather have Biden for president than Trump, because Trump is unpredictable and Biden is predictable. And he can predict Biden's every move, so he would rather have Biden in control. That says it all. That says it all. Biden is not on our side. Biden is not the right man for the job of president of the United States. I don't feel safe with him in there. I really don't. I don't feel safe with him, and he's getting to the point where he can barely even function, but he just pretends that he's just fine and acts outraged when anyone says anything. You know, he's like your sweet old uncle. Your sweet old Uncle Biden. It's fading and doesn't want to admit it, and acts offended if anybody mentions that he's fading. But Biden, no, I don't think so. I'd rather have Trump in there, and wish that these never-ending wars would end. But there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about the Palestinians attacking Israel. We can't go back to the way things were. And as far as Ukraine goes, we can't protect Ukraine from Russia forever. We just can't afford it. We can't afford to protect Ukraine. We don't have the money for it. So, but they did try to pass a bill sending additional funds to both Israel and Ukraine. They tried to pass it through the Senate, and maybe it passed the Senate, but then it went on to the House, and the House Republicans showed no interest in it. So I guess we're not. I guess we're not going to get, that Israel won't get any funds from us after all. But Israel's gotten lots of our money in the past, so they're well padded. They can survive quite a while. But they've been attacking Lebanon, and I think it's because Lebanon attacked them first. Because they wouldn't attack Lebanon just out of the blue for no reason. Lebanon must have attacked them first, sent more missiles into Jewish neighborhoods, and killed some Israelis, and now they're retaliating against Lebanon. So that's it. Nuclear weapons in space. I'm telling you, world leaders, be careful. Be careful and watch out, because Russia might make good on their promise to nuke our satellites. We don't want that to happen. So be careful. Be very careful how you handle Russia. Russia has to be handled with kid gloves because they are so dangerous right now. Russia's the biggest threat to the United States right now. And they have been a threat to the United States for many decades. And they just don't know how to break out of that role, I guess. Who knows what Putin's ambitions are? He's put out a hit on the Prime Minister of Estonia. He wants her dead. And what Putin wants, Putin usually gets. So I would watch out for the Prime Minister of Estonia also. But he wants to get the band back together again. You know, he wants to go back to the way things were during the Cold War. So, I'm Sarah Jane Alphawolf signing off. You have a terrific week, and write to your representative and tell them that you don't want nuclear weapons in space, and whatever you can do to prevent it, you should do.